Right now on News 3, new details made public today, shedding some light on a Beloit homicide investigation.
And find out what the state legislature is hoping to accomplish in the upcoming lame duck session ahead of Governor-elect Tony Evers swearing in.
And a day after the automaker announced major cuts, how the president is threatening General Motors.
This is News 3 at 10.
Thank you for joining us tonight. A man from Beloit is still in jail as the state works to prove what they already believe, that he killed 49-year-old Jose Reyes last week.
A criminal complaint in this case was just made public today as the suspect made his first court appearance. Amy Reed joins us now with new developments in this case. Amy?
That's right. Police addressed a group of reporters tonight with the pieces of the case they can release. And though the man arrested and charged with the crime is claiming self-defense, the district attorney thinks otherwise.
Mr. Acosta, you are charged in count 1 with first-degree intentional homicide.
Ezekiel Acosta teleconferenced in for his first appearance in court today. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide following a shooting last week on the night before Thanksgiving. Police said he shot 49-year-old Jose Reyes. A criminal complaint the district attorney filed today said when officers talked to Acosta, he said he thought Reyes was trying to break in, and that's why he shot him. But police said there were no signs of a break-in, and the mere fact the district attorney felt there was reason to press charges speaks for itself.
But I think the important piece is that the district attorney, in reviewing the matter, knowing additional information, of course, that we're unable to divulge at this point, felt confident in issuing a complaint for first-degree intentional homicide, which I think all of you would say is a pretty affirmative step in the process.
Police said they don't know for certain the relationship between Acosta and Reyes, so they don't know what brought Reyes to the house last Wednesday or what Acosta's motive might be if he is the shooter.
There is some prior relations between the victim and persons in that house, including even the suspect, but exactly why he was there on that evening and what led up to it is still a large part of the active investigation, and we're still trying to mesh those pieces together.
Friends and family watching Acosta in court today did not want to talk with us, along with the defense attorney on Acosta's case, who asked for the hearing to be continued until Friday so he could have a chance to speak with his client. Acosta is scheduled to be back in court on Friday. If he is convicted of this crime, it could mean life in prison.
Amy Reed in our news center tonight. Amy, thank you.
The Tree Lane family apartments on the west side of Madison opened just 5 months ago, and police have already been called to the building more than 200 times. It was a shooting last week at the apartment that sent a woman to the hospital that made everyone collectively say enough is enough. Madison 9th District Alder Paul Skidmore says building management, Heartland Housing, has failed to provide any semblance of security. According to Skidmore, visitors can come and go as they please, which leads to most of the problems.
This neighborhood does not have confidence in Heartland or this project, and now Heartland is going to be in a rebuilding phase.
Today, in response to the rash of incidents, Madison Mayor Paul Soglin made Deputy Mayor Gloria Reyes an emergency site manager of sorts. She will collect data, give advice to Heartland Housing, and provide the mayor with a full report of what the next steps should be in the next few weeks.
A scare this afternoon at Walter Reed Medical Center in Maryland, just outside Washington. The Pentagon says reports of an active shooter at the military hospital turned out to just be a drill. It was just after 2 this afternoon. SWAT teams responded. No one told the patients and staff it was just a drill. Some sheltered in place. Now, the Navy, which runs Walter Reed, later found out that one of the medical center's subordinate commands had been planning a drill, and as part of the planning, accidentally triggered the alert. The Rock County SWAT team arrested a woman this morning after a 6-hour standoff with officers. Dispatchers got the call about 4:30 this morning to a home on Lakeview Drive in Edgerton. When police got there, they found a man next door who said he was able to escape the home after having a gun pointed at him. 6 hours later, around 10 a.m., the Rock County SWAT team eventually made contact with 38-year-old Cherie Haffrey and arrested her. No shots were fired. She was arrested without major incident. She's now facing a number of charges.
To weather now. Here is a live look from our Edgewater Sky Cam. A cold day and night in Madison and a few flurries tonight as well. Meteorologist Dana Fulton is in the Weather Center with our first alert forecast. Hi, Dana.
Hey, Charlotte. So right now we do have actually just a few little snowflakes falling for parts of southern Wisconsin as we look at our Doppler track just for the last 3 hours. A lot of the eastern side of the state seeing some snowfall. Right now, we do have a nice little blob moving from Madison through the eastern side of Dane County down into Rock County as well. Nothing that's really going to accumulate. Just kind of feels like you're in a snow globe for a little bit. Some big fluffy flakes falling down, leaving trace amounts behind. Temperatures are in the 20s, 20 degrees in Madison right now, 21 in Monroe and 23 in Janesville. Compared to this time yesterday, that is a little bit of a drop. Will stay pretty chilly overnight, of course, with this northwest breeze continuing on. Good news, though, our wind speeds are dying down just a little bit, so the wind chill won't be too much lower than where our actual temperatures are at. It feels like we're closer to 12 degrees right now in Madison. Our wind direction shifts, becoming a little more southerly, west-southwest for us, and that's going to help our temps actually warm up for tomorrow. In the upper 20s for Wednesday, that's going to kick off a little bit of a warming trend towards the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that warming trend in your 10-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Dana, thank you. We are learning more tonight about the measures Republicans hope to pass in a lame duck session before Governor-elect Tony Evers is sworn in.
Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says Republicans don't have the support they need to pass a tax break bill for Kimberly Clark. The bill would provide up to $100 million in incentives in order to keep a plant open in northeastern Wisconsin. The state assembly has already passed the proposal, but it stalled in the Senate earlier this year. No Democrats have said they'd vote for the bill, and not all Republicans are on board, meaning the Senate is still 6 or 7 votes short.
Senator Roth is still talking to members of the Senate, on both sides of the aisle, and the votes are not there, kind of as of today. But like I said, that process kind of continues.
The lame duck session could convene as soon as next week. Senator Fitzgerald says they're also considering moving the 2020 presidential primary from April to March and limiting the governor's power over implementing administrative rules. Tony Evers has called the session a final, desperate attempt for Republicans to hold on to power.
The Republican Party will be holding on to its majority in the United States Senate tonight in Mississippi in what has been called a racially charged race. Republican incumbent Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith won the runoff election. Her challenger, Democrat Mike Espy, was seeking to become that state's first African-American U.S. senator since the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. President Trump is threatening to cut all of General Motors' subsidies after the automaker announced it'll be cutting thousands of jobs and closing a handful of plants. The president tweeting today, quote, very disappointed with General Motors and their CEO. The U.S. saved General Motors, and this is the thanks we get. We are now looking at cutting all GM subsidies, including for electric cars. GM announced yesterday it would be ending production for 6 sedans and closing the plants that produce them. The move could mean the loss of some 14,000 jobs. The company says it is moving away from sedans, and more consumers are buying trucks, SUVs, and crossovers.
New tonight, the Madison Water Utility says it is addressing a $2.1 million budget shortfall for 2018 on top of its $6 million shortfall in 2017. They say this latest deficit is in part because the latest rate increase took more than a year to be approved.
Everything that we do, all of our operations, all of our construction, everything is funded through rates. So when we had this big delay in the Public Service Commission's approval of our revenue increase, that affected our operations and our operation budget for 2018.
Those rate increases just went into effect at the beginning of November, about 16 months after they were submitted. The Madison Water Utility says it cut an additional $1.6 million from its budget to help address the shortfall, but some expenses couldn't be avoided. The cost will be covered through a bond sale that will be happening in December. New data shows statewide efforts to reduce smoking rates are paying off. According to the State Department of Health Services, 16% of adults smoked last year, which is a new low for Wisconsin. The department says one of the biggest reductions is among people aged 35 to 44. Those rates are down to 19%. The year before, it was 24%.
State regulators are giving prospective hemp farmers another 2 months to apply for licenses for the 2019 growing season. Today, the Department of Ag, Trade and Consumer Protection says it is extending the deadline for new license applications and existing registration renewals from December 31st to March 1st. DATCAP licensed 242 hemp farmers for the 2018 season. The agency says 139 of them planted. Nickelodeon confirms the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants has passed away. Steven Hillenburg announced he was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, also known as ALS, back in March of 2017. Hillenburg conceived, wrote, produced, and directed the animated series that started in 1999 and went on to spawn hundreds of episodes, movies, and even a Broadway show. Stephen Hilleberg, 57 years old. And still to come, tonight at 10, a look at the top baby names in 2018 and your extended forecast for the rest of the week.
And a flight to remember, some incredible video, hundreds of feet in the air. We'll have the story when we come back.
Some intense video out of Switzerland. A Florida man spent his first hang gliding ride dangling from the control bar after the pilot forgot to strap him in. The guy on the left is not connected. This video shows the trouble started immediately after takeoff when Chris Gursky realized he was not attached really to anything here. He ended up holding that control bar with his left hand and holding the pilot with his right hand for most of this 2.5-minute flight. The glider was at times hundreds of feet from the ground. Gursky eventually fell off there. He did suffer a fractured wrist upon that landing, but he did survive. Amazing video. Next at 10, should farms that hold weddings in barns in Wisconsin be required to have a liquor license? So the Attorney General Brad Schimmel says yes.
But his opinion has some farmers and venue owners worried. Schimmel released his opinion in a letter earlier this month, trying to clear up confusion about a statute. It says a public place must have a liquor license, but doesn't define public place. The Department of Revenue lists barns like this one at Badger Farms as private, meaning they don't need a liquor license but can't sell alcohol. Dave Meal has been hosting weddings here for almost 14 years. The bride and groom bring their own alcohol, and Dave isn't required to, but he has a bartender to serve it.
We've been playing the right way. We got the opinion from the Department of Revenue how to do it, and we've been following it to a T since we started doing the weddings. If they want to change, then let's talk about it, not have slam dunk change.
He says their venue is essentially a DIY spot for the wedding party. They can bring their own home brews and wines, and if all farm venues like his and many others across the state who only operate 6 months a year are required to get a liquor license, it could put some out of business. Baby Center is out with its list of top baby names of 2018. For girls, Sophia took the top spot, followed by Olivia and Emma. For boys, the top spot belongs to Jackson, followed up by Liam and Noah. And some of the hottest name trends, names like Peace and Sky. Also, a lot of babies out there are also being named after the Kardashian-Jenner family. And names like Stormy, yes, I said Stormy, and Saint are also trending up. Take it away, Eric, all yours.
Completely unrelated story now. Hunters harvested slightly more deer during the 9-day gun deer hunt this year in Wisconsin. According to preliminary data released from the DNR, they say hunters killed more than 211,000 deer this season. The DNR also says this was the safest season on record. 3 hunters suffered non-fatal shooting injuries during the hunt, which makes it the state's safest gun deer season ever. There hadn't been a fatal shooting during the state's gun deer season since 2015, when there were 3 that year. It has been a mystery in Columbia County for the past 10 years. If you've driven by the Wanderers Rest Cemetery, you've probably seen a bright orange hunting coat draped over a gravestone.
We found out the story behind that coat today. For the past decade, Kim Swan has been placing the coat on her mother's grave as a way to honor her during the deer hunting season. Kim says her mom Vera died of lung cancer but has hunting in her blood. As a way to pay respects and have a piece of her mom with her each deer hunting season, she places this coat on her grave and then removes it at the end of the season.
Well, when we got out our hunting gear that first year, we just held Mom's coat and I started crying and I said, I want to go put it on Mom. And my husband said, well, we can put it on her gravestone.
And the rest was history. Kim says this tradition is a way for her mom to always be with her every deer hunting season. More on this story can be found on our website, channel3000.com.
I bring Dana back now to talk about the forecast as we continue in this cold spell.
It is a little bit of a cold streak for us. The good news, though, we're trending in the other direction now. Temps are going to climb a little bit as we get towards the end of the week and into the weekend. Not ruling out the chance, though, to still see a few more snowflakes for us before we get to the weekend. Right now, we do have a little snow flurry outside. Overnight, we are expecting our skies to slowly clear on up for us. That's some good news. Becoming partly cloudy to start off tomorrow morning. So we may see a little bit of sunshine in the morning, but overall that cloud coverage is going to build back in later in the day. That increasing cloud coverage is going to lead to an overcast sky by tomorrow evening. And some light snowfall will be possible later on in the evening, Wednesday and into early Thursday morning. So right now, yes, we do have that light snowfall for the eastern part of Dane County. And Madison was just outside. We did have a few snowflakes falling down. Rock County right now and over into Jefferson also seeing some snow. And the eastern side of the state in the last several hours has also seen just a few snowflakes. Nothing that's going to accumulate to anything. But it's just nice and pretty sometimes to walk outside and have the snowflakes. Our high pressure is helping us send a little northwest breeze in our direction over the last few days. It's kept us pretty chilly, but now our wind direction is going to shift a little bit, becoming a little more west-southwest. That'll send a little warmer air in, so our temps are going to climb steadily over the next few days. We also have this front off to the west, fairly weak, which is good news for us, only bringing a little bit of moisture with it. As it crosses tomorrow night, we do have the chance, especially north of Madison, to see some snowfall. By tomorrow morning, again, partly cloudy, clearing up for us overnight. Temperatures will be very chilly early in the day, and then the clouds build right back in later on in the evening. We'll be in the upper 20s for afternoon highs on Wednesday. So a few degrees warmer than today. Later in the evening, there's that snow chance again. More accumulation expected to the north for us, but we are going to stay cloudy as we head into Thursday morning. No real clearing opportunities for us on Thursday and even overnight heading into Friday. Thursday afternoon highs keep climbing on up in the low 30s. Our snow potential just a trace amount to a few tenths of an inch for us in Madison, the further north, maybe seeing just about a half of an inch near Black River Falls, up to an inch up into the northern part of the state. For tomorrow afternoon and evening, again, cloudy, temperatures in the upper 20s, wind chill in the teens. It won't be as chilly outside, but still below average and still going to feel below average. So our November trend continues on. The next several days likely going to be below average as well. So we'll finish off November quite chilly. Outside right now, we have a cloudy sky, but it's slowly clearing up for us. 24 the high for the day. We should have been in the upper 30s. Good news, we will be closer to that by the end of the week, by the time we need to start December. 14 our overnight low. Very cold outside. Tomorrow we will be in the upper 20s. About 29 is what we're looking at for our high for Wednesday. Upper 20s tomorrow, and then we hop into the lower 30s by the time we get into Thursday. That snowfall chance on Thursday really overnight and early in the morning. Variably cloudy sky by Friday, and in the upper 30s for us on Friday. And then by the time we get to the weekend, another weather system is going to bring quite a bit of moisture in on Saturday. Because temperatures will be close to 40 on Saturday, it's a little good news for us. It looks right now like it will be mostly rainfall. If that rain comes any later in the day, though, of course, overnight, we may start to deal with a bit of a mix with some snow heading into early Sunday morning. So that's a potential for us this weekend. We'll be watching closely. But right now, because the temperatures will be warmer, it does look like we'll be leaning a little more towards rain than snow.
We can deal with rain.
We can deal with rain.
But a lot of people I know are ready for snow out there, too.
Yes, if you go outside right now, you can catch it. There are a few snowflakes, but that's about it.
It's not adding up yet.
Not adding up
That's
at all.
fine
We're going to
with me.
let them just fall from the sky, and we'll get there. We'll get there soon
Yes,
enough.
in due time.
Correct, correct.
Dana, thank you. Badger men's basketball team hoping to break even in the Big Ten ACC Challenge tonight. We'll have the story from the Kohl Center next in sports.
This is the 20th year for the Big Ten ACC Men's Basketball Challenge. The Wisconsin Badgers 9-10 in the challenge, heading into tonight's game at the Kohl Center against North Carolina State. Now, Virginia slugged it out the other day in the Bahamas. NC State wants to speed up the game. The Wolfpack have a guy named Markel Johnson who can shoot the three. This one beats the halftime horn to put NC State up 36-29. Badgers were very good from three again tonight. Demetric Trice, 4 of 5, and Aleem Ford off the bench hit 4 threes. Badgers within 3 early in the second half. NC State would open up a lead again, but then the Badgers would crawl back. Ethan Happ missed 10 shots tonight, but he still scored 19 points, had 11 rebounds and 4 block shots. Happ's free throw gives the Badgers the lead late, then Trice hits the shot that looked like it would ice it. That put the Badgers up 76-73. NC State has a chance to tie with a 3, but Brad Davison takes his 5th charge of the night, and that ends it. With the Badgers, an impressive comeback win at home in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. 79-75 Wisconsin. Badgers now 6-1 behind another double-double from Happ. Trice had 18, Ford 12, and Davison 12. Badgers open the Big Ten regular season Friday night at Iowa. The Big Ten home opener next Monday against Rutgers. They started announcing the All-Big Ten football teams today. The Badgers had only one defensive player named first-team All-Big Ten. It was linebacker T.J. Edwards. First-team media, second-team coaches. Edwards was 6th in the Big Ten in tackles this season with 104. It's the second straight year he was named first-team All-Big Ten. Andrew Van Ginkel and Dakota Dixon picked the second team by the coaches. Northwestern's Pat Fitzgerald named the Big Ten Coach of the Year today. Offensive awards are announced tomorrow. Michigan's loss has changed the college football playoff rankings a bit, and Michigan dropped from 4th to 7th, so Georgia slips into the top 4. It's Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, Georgia 4. The final playoff rankings come out Sunday. The Packers play Arizona at Lambeau Field Sunday. That should be a win, but this season, nothing's really for sure with this team. At the start of the year, they were Super Bowl contenders. Heading into Week 13, they're 4-6-1, and their hopes for the playoffs are hanging by a thread. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like he's having much fun lately, but he assures everyone the Packers will give it their all the rest of the way.
Yeah, we're going to battle the next 5 weeks and put ourselves in a position to be in the conversation. And hopefully it'll be enough. And like I've always said, you just got to get in. So we got to win these 5. See what happens. We'll see what we're made of the last 5 weeks. Are we going to stick together through these tough times, or are we going to start splintering? I'd like to think the leadership is in place that we can stick together.
The Bucs announced tonight that center John Henson had surgery in New York on his left wrist. Henson has a torn ligament in that wrist. He's expected to be out around 12 weeks or until after the All-Star break. Bucs host the Bulls tomorrow night. And the Brewers have signed catcher Eric Kratz to a 1-year contract, avoiding arbitration. He came to the Brewers in a trade with the Yankees, had a lot of big hits in their playoff run. Kratz hit 6 homers, drove in 23 runs in 67 games with Milwaukee. And we'll be right back.
Dana rejoins us. Final check of the forecast.
So we're looking at a steady warming trend as we get to the next few days, and the upper 20s for us tomorrow as opposed to the mid 20s like today. We're looking at a little bit of sun in the morning, then clouds increasing later in the day. The chance for some flurries popping up in the evening and early Thursday morning, and the low 30s for our afternoon highs on Thursday, and then upper 30s on Friday with a variably cloudy sky. Saturday, we'll finally get close to 40 degrees, but it looks like quite a bit of rain will be moving in for the weekend.
All right. Dana, thank you, and thanks for joining us for News 3 at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.